Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back.
Agent Key, yeah.
Selling Sacramento.
She's
selling Sacramento.
Agent Key,
She's selling Sacramento.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Agent Key, yeah.
Selling Sacramento.
She's
selling Sacramento.
Agent Key,
Selling Sacramento.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday and we are Selling Sacramento on 97.5 FM KDEE. Just a reminder that Selling Sacramento is brought to you every Wednesday by Matthews and Company Realty Group, where I, Agent Key, am broker and owner with over 20 years in the industry. And I love helping you buy, sell, and retain that real estate. So if you have a home to sell right now, people who need to sell are those folks who are experiencing life-changing events, whether it's downsizing, an empty nester, or divorce, or death, or if you've inherited a property. You might be in a situation where you need to sell, and you may need someone to help walk you through that process who is experienced and very knowledgeable. And I am proud to say that I am one of those people. So give me a call if you're ready to have that conversation or even ready to map out a plan towards home ownership. Visit my website at agentkee.com, agentkee.com, and schedule your free consultation or start the process of getting that home sold. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Just search Selling Sacramento Agent Key on your favorite platform and join in the conversation. Let me know that you're there by typing something in the chat and saying, hey, this is a conversation that I'd love to hear back from you, especially based on what we're talking about today. The title of our segment today is From Broke to Balanced, the complete beginner's guide to budgeting. Yes, we're going to talk about something we've all heard of, but we may not fully embrace. We would love to, right? Budgeting, living within our means. Now, I know that budgeting, it might sound tedious and it might even sound intimidating, but it is truly the backbone of financial well being. What's happening right now with our US government? They are trying to do what? Once again, balance the budget. And if it's important enough for our government, it is also important enough, or should be important enough, for you. So, what is budgeting? At its core, budgeting is about understanding and managing money. It's a roadmap that shows you how much money is coming in and how much money is going out and where it's going. So, why is it so essential? Well, imagine setting out on a journey with a map, without a map, or without a GPS. God, where would we be without GPS? You would likely get lost, and some of us still do. You would waste time and even money. So, similarly, without a budget, you're navigating through this financial journey of yours blindfolded. If you have income coming in, you have no idea where it's going. And this can lead to debt, stress, and missed financial opportunities. So, budgeting also offers clarity. It allows you to see your financial strengths and weaknesses. And with a clear budget, you can set and achieve financial goals, whether it's buying a house right here in Sacramento, yeah, saving for your child's education, or planning that dream vacation. A budget acts as a financial compass that guides you towards a secure financial future. Moreover, budgeting brings control. Have you ever experienced that end of the month panic? You know that saying, your money is funny, your change is strange, right? Where did all that money go? A budget helps to prevent that. So by keeping tabs on your spending, you can ensure that your hard-earned money is being spent wisely and not just slipping away unnoticed. And here's the big payoff: a balanced financial lifestyle. With budgeting, you can strike a balance between your present needs and future aspirations. It enables you to live within your means, avoid unnecessary debt, and steadily grow your savings. In essence, budgeting isn't about cutting the fun out of your life, but it's about making room for what truly matters to you. So, if you're aiming for a future where money woes won't keep you up at night, consider budgeting as a starting point. It's not just about the numbers, it's about creating a vision for your life and using your finances to make that vision a reality. So, we are going to get started with what I call the 3 pillars. You all know, or some of you know, that I've been taking this course at City College, through Sacramento City College, and it is Business 320. It's a financial management course, coincidentally. And so I've been in this class for about the past 3 weeks, but I've learned so much in just a short period of time. And so that is why I'm sharing this information with you. As I grow, you're going to grow right along with me, right? Once you have the information, you can't say you didn't know. You can't say you did not know. So we're going to talk about what I'm calling these 3 pillars that I've learned over the past few weeks. One is how to create a spending diary. 2, the second, I knew what SMART goals were, but implementing them with creating a budget is what I learned. So we're going to talk about SMART goals, SMART. And then we're also going to talk about the 3rd pillar, which is the 50-30-20 rule. And so we're going to get all of that today in today's episode. And I believe if you go to my website blog at agentkey.com/blog, it should have posted by now this entire show, this segment, and what we're talking about, an outline of the show. I'm also going to attach to that page documents, worksheets that correlate with all of the information that we're talking about. So if you go to my website right now, at the end of the blog post, it'll say to provide your contact information for that and for those worksheets. However, within the next 24, 48 hours, they'll be resting on that site automatically. As you finish the blog, you finish reading the post, you get to the end, all of the links will be right there with the worksheet downloads available to you. Everything that we are talking about today that we're going to dive into right now. Here we go. The 3 pillars: spending diary, SMART goals, and the 50-30-20 rule. What is it? The 3 pillars of effective budgeting, stepping stones to financial freedom. As we navigate through this journey, it's essential to have these tools that are reliable and available to us in our arsenal. And so this is going to give you an effective budgeting tool, should you choose to follow it, that can propel you from being broke to achieving a balanced financial lifestyle. And when I say broke, you all know what I mean. I'm not referring to the person who doesn't have a job. That's a whole different issue. I'm talking about those of us who are working, whether it's a 9 to 5, we're getting out there. Some of us have a ton of different jobs, but we still don't have enough money at the end of the month. It's coming in and it's going out before it even sits 24 hours in the bank account. So this is glass that can closely inspect where every cent of your money goes. That magnifying glass can see precisely everything. That's what a spending diary does. It's not just about noting your monthly rent or your bills. It's a comprehensive log of everything that you've spent, every single expenditure, whether it's a morning cup of coffee or an unplanned shopping spree. If you do this just for 30 days, it can be incredibly eye-opening. And I've talked about this in the past, how when I prepared a budget prior to purchasing my home to see where my money was being spent and to get everything ready, that I took my last 2 months' bank statements and I did just this. The difference with the diary is that I'm manually writing it down myself. I'm going back to the bank statements if I need to, but what's really happening is I'm getting home at the end of the day, like you would with a regular diary. Sometimes we have that diary right there in our drawer next to our bed in the nightstand or under the pillow or somewhere nearby. And you either get up in the morning and you start writing in that diary, or you pull it out before you go to bed and you write in the diary. This is the same thing that you do with your spending habits every day. Wherever you've spent that money, write it down. It's very easy to do if you're spending money with a debit card, or if you have your money that you're spending, if you're spending money through your cell phone. These days we can just swipe our phones and our phones will pay. When you get to the end of your day, whatever tool you have utilized to spend money, go back to that thing, to those tools, and write it down in your spending diary. The importance of taking it from those places and writing the information down in the spending diary is because day by day, week by week, and at the end of the month, you're going to get a better picture visually of your spending habits. And when you see how the spending diary is categorized, it will make more sense. You'll start noticing patterns, and maybe those takeout lunches are starting to add up, or perhaps you're spending more money online on subscriptions than you realized. I know for me, I have a habit of just thinking about, and this is something that just cultivated over the past couple of weeks. If I leave my brain alone long enough, I go shopping on Amazon. Like it'll just pop in my mind. If I need something, go get it on Amazon. Go get it on. And guess what? Guess what my spending habits reveal? Not that I didn't know it, because the Amazon man come to my house like, I don't know how many. So long story short, right? If we're looking for areas to cut back on, we can identify those areas through our spending journal, because it shows us it's just right there. It's the truth. And if you're asking your question, where can I cut back on spending? You got to you got to get eyeball to eyeball with that spending journal, that spending diary, and assess where you can cut back. So think of the spending diary as your financial self-reflection tool. It keeps you honest about your habits, and it gives you a clear picture of your financial reality. Now, once you have a grip on your current spending habits, it's time to look forward. And that's where SMART goals come into play. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar with SMART, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So let's say that you're aiming to buy a home. And instead of a vague goal like, I want to save for a house, a SMART goal would be, I will save $20,000 for a down payment in the next 3 years. So this makes it SMART. It's clear, it gives you a tangible target, and it has a deadline. It's actionable, and it gives you a roadmap to follow, making sure that your financial dreams are more attainable. Does that make sense? So saving $20,000 for a $20,000, for a down payment in the next 3 years to save for a house is specific, because it's 20,000. It's measurable, the next 3 years. It's achievable. We're making the assumption that you can do the 20,000 over the next 3 years. And then it's relevant. It's something that you want to purchase a home, and it's time bound. You've got 3 years to save it. And that is a goal point for you to check yourself to make sure that actually happens. So lastly, we have what's called the 50-30-20 rule. So this is a tried and tested rule, and it's new to me. This is the first time I've heard of it, but it's been around for a while, and I'll give you the history behind it a little bit later on in the show. But it's a powerful tool, and it's a guideline to help you allocate your income. I love it. I am using it now, and so here's how it breaks down. 50% of your income goes to necessities. Think rent. So break it up like this: 50-30-20. Necessities, leisure, and then saving and paying off debt. So necessities, 50% goes to rent, utilities, groceries, and other bills. This is a really quick way to take your payment. Whatever you get, if you get paid monthly, if you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, take that check, divide that number up. If you get paid, let's just, I want to put a number in here and make it really clear for everyone. Let's say you bring home $5,000 a month. 50% of that means that you're taking $2,500 of that, and you're applying that towards rent, utilities, groceries, and other bills. I'm just using a rounded number just for easy math. So don't nobody call in and tell me or say something in the chat like that. That ain't gonna work. But this is just the gist of it. Okay. And so then you're taking 30% of that, which is $1,500, and you designate that towards your leisure activities, dining out, and other non-essential activities, right? And then you take the remaining 20%, and that's $1,000 that you then set aside for savings and paying off debts. And so just start there. And it was a really eye-opening activity for me, because it caused me to see how much money I had already going towards necessities, what percentage I had going towards leisure activities, and what percentage I had going towards saving and paying off debt. And the realization for me was that I want to change those numbers. I want less going towards necessities, more going towards saying off and paying debt. I was above the 50%. Can we just be transparent? I have more money going to necessities. And that it wasn't that they weren't necessities. It was that some of my necessities are expensive, and it needs to change. whether that means getting, lower interest rates, paying down a lot of that debt, making stuff go away. I want to get mine down to 50% for my necessities. I'd actually like it to be lower, but I like that that this particular rule is 50% because it gives me some breathing room. So what makes it so effective is its simplicity. It's a clear framework to allocate your income, ensuring that your essential needs are met, that you're saving for the future, and yes, that you still have room to enjoy the present. So in summary, it's not about depriving yourself, but making informed, conscious decisions. And so by using these three pillars, the spending diary, the SMART goals plan, and the 50-30-20 rule to allocate you are going to be on your way to crafting a financial future that aligns with your dreams and your aspirations. Okay, so this is a lot of information. We're going to talk about it all day. We're going to break it down a little bit further, and I'm going to share the worksheets with you. So don't fret, don't worry. You'll be able to see how to make it happen. Even though it's going to require a bit of time and focus to set it up properly, here's the good news. You won't be doing it alone. Like I said, I'm going to help you. If you're a pen to paper kind of person or digital apps, I've got you covered. I'm going to be sharing these practical tips to help you, to help guide you. And I'm also going to address some challenges that you might be facing as you start on this pathway to budgeting and how to overcome them. So if you've ever felt lost, don't worry. This segment is tailor-made for you. If you want to get your money straight, your change unstrange, stay tuned. We're going to demystify the process. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive right in. Let me see here what's happening with my screen. Oh, there we go. We're going to dive right in. You are listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and we will be right back.
Until a couple of years ago, I was very anti the idea of creating a budget because A, who has the time, and B, I know what I'm spending. But when I actually decided to sit down and evaluate my finances, I realized how inconsistent I was being with my spending, and by extension, my saving. Creating a budget is a great way to get a big picture snapshot of your finances, so you can save for big purchases, or just make better decisions about where your money goes. And with the slew of budgeting apps on the market now, it really isn't very hard to create a budget for yourself. Let's take a look at 6 of the best budgeting apps available right now. Hey y'all, I'm Nikita, and welcome back to NerdWallet. There are a few different budgeting strategies, so we've been sure to make sure the list covers a couple of the more popular ones. And apps aren't the only way to do a budget, obviously, but they can be more convenient and easier to set up than some more traditional methods. They also do a good job of giving you a clear snapshot of your finances. Typically, budgeting apps will sync with your financial accounts in order to categorize your expenses and track your spending. If you don't want that, I'm including a couple of apps that don't require you to sync your accounts. All the apps I'll mention are fan favorites on the iOS app and Google Play stores. As of July 28, 2022, each one had at least 4.5 out of 5 stars, with at least 1,000 reviews. First up on the list is Mint. I'm mentioning it first because it is the most reviewed app on the list and has very high ratings. It's free, which is always a plus, and syncs to a lot of different types of financial accounts. Mint will track your expenses and place them in budget categories, which you can personalize. You'll set limits for the different categories, and Mint will alert you once you are approaching those limits. Mint is a great budgeting platform if you're looking to save money, pay down debt, and track your goals. It handles essentially everything for you, making it a great low-maintenance budgeting app option. But if you're looking to be a little more hands-on with your money by planning ahead instead of tracking after spending, YNAB might be a bit more your speed. This app follows the zero-based budgeting system and helps you plan ahead for financial decisions by accounting for every dollar you earn. You will connect your financial accounts. When you get paid, you'll tell the app how to allocate funds, such as going to expenses, goals, or savings, which can help you be more intentional in your spending. This app is best if you want to play a more active role in the budgeting process. It is currently priced at $14.99 per month or $98.99 per year. But you can start with a free trial to make sure the app is a good fit for you before you commit to a paying plan. Our third budgeting app on the list, Good Budget, is another hands-on app that's less about tracking expenses and more about planning for them. It follows the envelope system, meaning
Hey, Miss Emma Ty. Hi, Maurice. How y'all doing? Hey, everyone. We're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we are Selling Sacramento. More specifically, we are talking about From Broke to Balanced, the complete beginner's guide to budgeting. And before we went on break, I wanted to talk about budgeting a little more specifically. And once again, my information on my screen is acting up. My goodness. But we're going to talk about the basics of budgeting. Budgeting, in its simplest form, is the process of creating a plan for your money. So think of it as a financial blueprint. It ensures that you'll always have enough money for the things you need and the things that are important to you. So why is this necessary? Well, without a budget, you might find yourself in a tough spot when unexpected costs arise, right? Like, have you ever been caught off guard by a sudden car repair or medical bill? Budgeting prepares you for these situations. You can be prepared. It's not a matter of if it will happen. It's just a matter of when. So with a clear budget, you can allocate the right money for that particular situation in advance, but not just for unexpected expenses, but also what about your dreams? What about that vacation you want to take? What about that investment you want to make? What about the college tuition? You can prepare in advance for your dreams, for travel, for home ownership, even for early retirement. Yes, you can. Si se puede. Yes. So the other thing that I want to introduce to you is to help you understand some terminologies that we may have heard, but are not necessarily clear about. Understanding income versus expenditures. The following that we're going to talk about is the foundation of any good budget. And that's understanding two key things: your income, what you have coming in, and your expenditures, just a fancy word for expenses or what you have going out. Rent, bills, groceries, entertainment, so on. So by being very clear and differentiating between the two, you can pinpoint if you're living within your means or if you're overspending. If your expenditures consistently exceed your income, you're headed towards debt. So it's essential that you review and adjust your financials accordingly. So a budget is not set in stone. It's a living, breathing document that changes as your life does. What worked for you last year or 5 years ago or 10 years ago may not work for you now, especially if you are wanting to introduce something new financially into your life for the long run. Discipline and consistency will be key. We can have a very meticulously crafted budget, but if we don't stick to it, it's no more useful than just a piece of paper. And I can attest to that. For a couple of days, I completely forgot that I was supposed to be living from a budget, and you know what happened. But what I didn't do was that I did not punish myself. I fell off the horse, got right back up on it, saddled up, and kept going. Didn't even look backwards, because that's going to happen. So be patient with yourself. Be gracious with yourself. Be kind to yourself as you're introducing these new disciplines and new habits in your life. Discipline is about making hard choices. It's choosing to cook at home instead of eating out. I've shared with you all how I've been confronted with that. When you're on the road and you're working and you eat out a lot, that's a habit. And you've got to break those habits in the moment and create new ones. You got to plan in advance for the new habits. If you're going to plan to cook at home, that means you've got to go grocery shopping before the need arises. That means you got to take a moment to actually map out a menu, prepare a grocery list, pick a day to go grocery shopping, and do it. You got to pick a day to meal plan or meal prep, I should say, if you're going to cook in advance so that you don't get caught off guard. And there's a lot of planning that goes into being disciplined, that goes into being a good saver and a good steward of your finances. But it will pay off in the long run. It's going to be tough, but the payoff is a life where you are in control of your finances rather than your finances controlling you. That, my friends, is worth every ounce of effort. Okay? So now we're going to talk about diving into this spending diary. If we were to ask most of you where you spent your money last month, you might provide a broad range of categories: rent, mortgage, that's going to be number one, utilities, groceries, and maybe dining out. But if we were to ask for specifics, like how much was spent on morning coffees or online shopping, many of you, myself included, would draw a blank. And that's where the concept of a spending diary comes in. It's very detailed and it's necessary. You need to see that you're spending $4.75 on a cup of coffee. You need to see that you spent $17 at the parking garage. You need to visually see that. It might sound tedious, but the clarity is going to be unparalleled. It's going to give you that magnifying glass of your spending habits and show you a pattern of financial behavior so that you can correct it. And these are some of the benefits. The awareness is number one. When we're forced to jot down every expense, we become hyper aware of our spending habits. You might be surprised to find how much those weekly takeouts or impulse buys add up over each month. The second benefit is identifying these patterns. Like I said, the pattern of the Amazon man or woman coming to my house, that in itself was a pattern, but I was not tying it to money leaving my bank account. It was like Christmas morning every time, but it's like, no, every time that man, every time I see an Amazon truck now, I shiver. Like, wait a minute, how much money just went out? That money could have been this, that money could have been allocated to the 20% where I needed to go. So you become hyper aware when you see these patterns. And then accountability. There's a certain level of accountability that comes with a spending diary. When you have to write down an expense, you might think twice about making any unnecessary purchases. I bought a bunch of stuff from Amazon just on impulse when I remember, oh my God, I'm in this budget. And guess what I did? I went and returned all of it. I did. And Amazon, thank goodness, they have a really good policy where you go on the website, you click return next to the item. You don't even have to put it back in the original box. I'm trying to help somebody. Somebody just made an Amazon purchase within the past few days. I have like 15 days to return everything, but they made it super, super easy because all I do is take it to a UPS store, the mailbox store. I have one right down the street, couple exits away. Take it to the UPS store. I'm in line waiting to talk to the gal for at the mailbox store to exchange my items. I look over to the left and guess what? It's a whole table for returning Amazon packages. You go pull out a little plastic bag, you download the QR code, which I had on my phone, scan it. It tells you, oh yeah, that's that item. It spits out a label. You throw your item in the plastic bag, wrap it up, smack the label on it, drop it in the box. And then 24 hours later, they're refunding your money. So I'm trying to help somebody. Some of that stuff needs to be returned. Amazon makes it easy. The other benefit is planning and adjusting. After a month or so of maintaining the spending diary, you're going to be armed with a lot of data, and it's going to be invaluable when it comes to setting up or adjusting your budget. You know exactly where to cut back and where you might have some wiggle room. And then the other benefit is it sets a stage for financial goals. Now you can actually set some real clear financial goals. This is where the concept of SMART goals comes in, and we're going to dive deeper into that in a few minutes. So Choosing your tool. What does this spending diary need to look like physically? It can be a diary or a notebook. There's something very tactile about writing down expenses. And some of us are kinetic learners. I think that's the terminology. If I have any teachers out there watching right now, is it kinetic or kinesthetic? It's one of those K words, but it's basically tactile where you feel it. You like to feel your goals and you like to feel your way around the work that you do. So having that kind of book can make you more aware of the money that you have going out. You can pick up a small diary or a notebook that's easy to carry with you. You can get them from the 98-cent stores, keep it in your purse or your pocket or your car. So it's always accessible. And then if there are some of you who are like me, then you prefer digital tools. If you are more tech savvy, there are a number of apps and digital tools available designed for expense tracking. You can use simple tools like an Excel or Google spreadsheet, or specific apps that might have additional features that link to your bank account, providing graphs and charts, etc. I actually use my budgeting tool through the bank account the bank that I bank with. Bank of America has an online app where you can, with all of your spending, you can specifically name or categorize each of your spending items, and it will push it into a chart and a graph where you can develop a budget from it so that you can see what you're spending money most on. So that's pretty cool. Most bank accounts will probably allow you to do that. And then step 2 with this diary, with this spending diary, is to track daily spending religiously. You got to become a maniac about it. If the goal is to be, my ultimate goal is to get to the 800 club and to have X number of dollars in my bank account by the end of the year. And so you have to think like that. If that is your goal, if you have a monthly goal, a quarterly goal, an annual goal, it starts by doing something daily. Every day you've got to make a difference. Every day you've got to plan to win the day. So no purchase is too small. From a pack of gum to a piece of furniture, write down every expenditure. And it might seem tedious, but small purchases add up over time. And consistency is key. Do it daily. Make the habit of doing this every day. It's a key to your success. If you want to try to wait to recall the information at the end of the week, you're going to likely forget something. So don't wait until the end of the week. Okay. And then step 3 is categorizing your expenses. We're still with the spending diary. And again, I'm going to have worksheets available for you on my website. If you go to my website right now, I'm saying that I should probably run over there and see if it's there, but it should be there. agentkey.com/blog or /blog. Let's see if it's there. If you go to the blog, it should be the first. And there it is, From Broke to Balanced, your ultimate guide to smart budgeting. If you click on that and you get to the end of the article, at the end of the article, there is a form that you can complete. It says request downloadable forms, tools, and other resources discussed on today's show. So if you put your information in there, I'll be sure to get you all of the documents that we're referencing. However, in the next 24 to 48 hours, resting on this site live will be all of those downloadable documents so that you don't have to request it. I just want to make sure that you don't miss it between now and the time the documents actually get there. So categorizing your expenses. Main categories, we're going to break down your expenses into broad categories like groceries, entertainment, dining out, utilities, rent, mortgage, transportation, etc. All of these are going to be on the worksheet. Subcategories are optional. And this is if you want a deeper understanding, you can break these down further. Like if you want to know exactly what you're spending on groceries, fresh produce, meat, dairy, snacks. Some of us need to do that, right? We get to the grocery store and we spend money on, things we shouldn't be spending money on. Let me just leave it at that. And then flexibility. Over time, you might find that you need to adjust or add new categories, and that's okay. Your spending diary should evolve with your spending habits. Step 4 of the spending diary is to analyze and reflect. And you should have weekly reflections and then do a monthly deep dive. So at the end of each week, sit down and take a look at where your money actually went. Are there any surprises? Are you spending more money on dining out than you thought? Or maybe those online shopping deals are starting to add up. The monthly deep dive, you take a deeper look and you tally up each category and you compare it to the previous months. This is going to give you a clearer picture of patterns or changes in your spending behavior. Okay? And then adjust and plan. If you notice you're overspending in a category, think about ways to cut back. Or if you find some extra money, consider allocating that to savings or investments. This gets fun and exciting. It really does. When you discover, I'm getting excited about it because I've already seen how it's changing me, I'm starting to get offers in my emails, y'all, from folks talking about, oh, you qualify for this, your credit has done that. And it's just because I took the initial steps of looking at not being afraid. Can I just say, if you are afraid to look at your money, you will continue to stay where you are. You got to get unafraid. Get unafraid to look at your credit report. Run the credit report, go to get your free credit report and look at it. Don't be afraid to call these folks who have your feet over hot coals and try to work something out. Work with organizations like bluewatercredit.com. That's who I always refer people to. Go to their website. They've got a ton of information for free. That's another way to start. We have to release this hold, this financial chokehold that we have over our lives if we want to do better. We have to. And it starts with us taking some very courageous steps towards dealing with the elephant in the room. So here are some other tips for maintaining an accurate and insightful spending diary. Honesty is the best policy. Guess who the only person you're going to be cheating if you leave out purchases or underestimate costs? You. Nobody is even going to see this unless you're telling them about it. I would highly recommend that if you share this with anyone, share it with someone who's also going to be doing it with you, who's going to hold you accountable, whom you can be brutally honest with. If you've spent more than you are comfortable admitting, write it down anyway. It's these type of revelations that are going to spur positive change. Things happen, life happens. I thought I had a certain amount of money that I was going to have left over this month, and I had 2 unexpected, unknown financial situations come into my world. I didn't pretend like they weren't there. I wrote, okay, this is what it is. I'm not exactly where I want to be this month, but guess what? There's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. And my goal is to win. So I'm not going to let 2 unexpected expenses deter me from sticking to this plan. So number 2 is to create a routine. Allocate a specific time of the day, perhaps in the evening before bed or during your morning routine, to jot down or review your expenses. This consistency is going to ensure that you don't miss out on recording any expenses. I have what I call, on my calendar, I have what I call Financial Fridays. And I typically try to do it first thing in the morning. I had not in the past been as consistent as I would like to have been, but now getting more into this particular program, these 3 pillars, I am leaning and feeling more compelled to be much more consistent. See how gracious I am with myself? I don't pressure myself, y'all. The 3rd item is to use cash for a week. Use cash for a week. Pull out just what you need and don't spend any more. In today's digital age, you swipe a card so fast, we don't even think about it anymore. But if you use cash, you can have a tangible connection to your spending. You see the money leaving your hands, which is powerful psychologically. And then at the end of the day, counting over leftover change can give you a precise idea of daily expenses. And then number 4, attach receipts. Whether you're using a physical diary or a digital app, try to keep a copy of your receipts. Not only does this help ensuring the accuracy of your records, but it also comes in handy when reflecting on your purchases. It provides an extra layer of accountability. Number 5 is reflect on emotional spending. Our emotions often influence our spending habits. Yeah. Did you buy something because you were stressed out or sad? Yeah. Or perhaps you were celebrating. We celebrate a lot. We even got days, y'all. Y'all know that some of these holidays were meant to get you to spend money, right? You might want to reflect on that and see which ones are trying to make you spend money that you shouldn't be spending. We got a big one coming up, and if you haven't prepared for it, you don't want to get to December and then just start spending money that you didn't plan for. If you are talking about becoming a better steward of your finances today, you want to plan for December yesterday, because it's going to come. Make a quick note of your emotional state when you do spend emotionally, especially if it's unplanned, because when you reflect on your emotional state, it can offer you a deeper insight into your spending triggers. That's a whole nother level, but quite a few of us get that way. For myself personally, when it comes to there was a point where I would go into, what's the store, DSW? I think it was DSW. It was a big warehouse-like shoe store. Maybe it was DSW. And I would go there to just kind of let my hair down, just not think about anything. And when I'd leave the store, I kid you not, and I did not do this often, maybe once or twice a year, but I would always leave the store with at least, and this is not bragging, this is actually very bad, I don't do it anymore, 5 or 6 boxes of shoes. I'm not even going to tell you what that adds up to financially. And the saddest part is that probably a majority of those shoes I don't even have anymore. But when you spend emotionally, those are the types of things that happen. I justified it that I'm just relaxing, letting my hair down. It's been stressful. I deserve it. I'm just going to do me. Yeah, but it was a hefty price to pay. Woo-wee. I reflect on it now and I'm sad. When it happened, I wasn't. I was a different me, but I am not her anymore. So I would not dare do that anymore. Number 7 is to review it with someone. Every once in a while, consider reviewing your spending with a trusted friend, a partner, or a financial advisor. They might offer some perspectives or catch things that you miss. Plus, being accountable to someone can boost your commitment. Yes. I want to say hello online to Miss Nesper, LaKay, and Felisa. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in online on social media. So we just talked about number 7, reviewing it with someone. Maintaining that spending diary can be an enlightening experience. It will reveal habits that you might not even be aware of. But remember, again, it's not about feeling guilty over your choices, but rather gaining clarity. And if you're armed with this understanding, you can make more informed choices, plan better, and pave the way to a more balanced future financially. So don't forget, if you're interested in getting started, you'll be able to go to my website and download all of the worksheets. I've got you covered. Now we're going to talk specifically about SMART goals. I gave you a little bit of an overview, but now we're going to talk specifically about how to set a SMART goal, S-M-A-R-T. We all set goals in our lives. We say, I want to save more, or I want to buy a house. But what makes a goal truly effective is its specificity how specific you are about it, and is it measurable? And that's where SMART goals come into play. So the acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, some people say attainable, relevant, and time bound. Instead of saying, I want to save more, a SMART goal will be, again, I want to save $10,000 for a down payment on a house in the next 2 years. See the difference? There's something that happens magically when we're specific about the things that we want in our lives. When we just say, oh, I wish I had more money, that's just that. It's just a wish. But if you say, I want to have $1,000 by the end of this month, and this is how I plan to get it, now your brain starts going to work on how to make that happen for you. Things start happening in the atmosphere to set you up. And all that's left is for you to do the work to make it happen and to make it come true. So when you set goals like this in the context of your finances, it can truly be transformative. The worksheet breaks it down for you in setting short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. So short-term goals are less than 2 years. These could be things like building an emergency fund, paying off a specific credit card debt, or saving for a vacation. These are immediate and usually motivate quick action. So you're going to set short-term goals. The medium-term goals are 2 to 5 years. Maybe that's something like buying a car, saving for a significant home renovation, planning a big family holiday, and that might require a bit more planning and a little more discipline. And then we have long-term goals. Those are more than 5 years. This is where dreams come into play. Buying a home, saving for your child's education, or planning for retirement. These types of goals shape your financial journey and influence the decisions like investments, property purchases, and more. The other magic that comes from making these types of goals is that you start watching what you spend on a daily basis, because your mind is like, wait a minute, I said I want to have 5,000 by this time, or go to this place next year, or buy this house in 5 years, and that's the house, and there's a picture of the house. And you know that your money that you spend every day, every dime in your bank account, every nickel in your wallet, every dollar is already named, and you would be hesitant to spend it. You would be less likely to spend it, and you will be a lot more disciplined and frugal in your spending if you already knew where that money was going. So there's something very powerful and magical about that. And help you understand how it has helped countless individuals regain control of their finances. First, I want to give you some background about exactly what the 50-30-20 budget rule is. It's a straightforward and transformative approach to managing your money that was devised by Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, and she is a former Harvard bankruptcy expert. I did not know this until I learned about this 50-30-20 rule. But this rule is a testament to her understanding of finances and the daily challenges that many face in juggling their expenses. At the core of the 50-30-20 rule, it offers a simplified structure for budgeting by breaking down your after-tax income into the 3 primary categories: needs, wants, and savings and debt repayment. So 20% savings and debt repayment. In there, you're saving and you're also paying back debt. So it's covering everything. And I think we already talked about what the 50 what each category covered, but the 50% covers essentials like rent, mortgage, utilities, and groceries. The 30% is wants, dining out, hobbies, entertainment, and the 20% is savings and retirement. Now we're going to break it down. The 50% are non-negotiables. I want to be very clear about what these percentages relate to. The non-negotiables, and I say it like that and emphasize it because sometimes some of us have wants, but they're not needs. And we put them in this category with the 50%. The needs are really, they should be needs. And I always like to use an example of the cable, like the satellite. Yes. My satellite bill, I think, is like 170 something. And I'm actually very close to cutting it out. I really am cutting it out or cutting it back. I'm going to figure out a way to get that thing down. I still do have a Fire Stick, and I might just, because if I could save, and see, this is how you need to think about this. If I could save $175 every month and redirect that $175 to my 20%, that could either be going to my retirement or / investments. $175 placed in the right stock fund that returns dividends is a pretty darn better good investment. Does that even make sense? Pretty darn better good investment than spending it every month on cable that I don't watch. I'm talking myself right into it. Or paying down some other debt, because remember I said it was more than 50% that I was spending on my housing needs. So if I can pay down take that 175, throw it at some of my other debt in the 50% category, the faster I could bring those principles down and bring that higher percent down to the 50%. See, this is and I know this, and I can move things around like this because I wrote it all down. This is the importance. You can do this too. I'm not no magical genie or genius. I just wrote it down. Y'all can too. So at the heart of the strategy is recognizing that half of your post income should go towards your absolute essentials. These are things that you can live comfortably without stretching beyond your means. Housing, utilities, food, transportation, healthcare. The 30% is wants. That's the joy of life. That allows you to enjoy your money. You got to have something to enjoy life. You can't just be working for nothing. Entertainment, dining, hobbies, leisure, personal care, and shopping. And then the 20% is retirement, emergency funds, paying off debt, and like I just discussed, investing. Now we're going to talk about being successful. You have to categorize your expenses correctly. Use the tools, stay specific, regularly review, and keep receipts. Next, you have to adjust for individual circumstances. When things change, make adjustments, fall off the horse, get back on. Flexibility is key, periodic evaluation, and consider your gross versus net. What does that mean? For some, it might make sense to calculate your budget based on your gross income rather than net, especially if you have significant pre-tax contributions or deductions. Make the most of the 20% savings and debt repayment by prioritizing the high interest debt. Pay that down first. Automate your savings when you can. Create an emergency fund first. If you got to start out with $100, make it a goal to save $100. Then increase that. Make it a goal to save $1,000. Next, educate yourself and then reinvest your returns. Once you pay something off, put that money somewhere else. If you've made earnings from other investment, reinvest them again to capitalize the compound on that growth. So now we're going to bring it all together really quickly. Imagine a 28-year-old professional living in Sacramento named Sarah. She landed a new job with a decent salary, but like many others in her age bracket, she's juggling student loan debt. She wants to buy a house, and she has dreams of traveling to Europe. So we're going to see how Sarah combines these three tools to map out a sustainable financial journey. She has a spending diary. She starts with a spending diary tracking every expense, no matter how small, She makes note of everything. Number 2, she sets smart goals. When she, with insights from her spending diary, she can now set clear, actionable financial goals. And then number 3, with the 50-30-20 rule, she sets boundaries and financial balance. Using her new salary and the insights from her spending diary, she breaks down her monthly budget. 50% on needs, 30 on wants, and 20 on savings. And the merged pathway, she reviews her spending and she's on track at the end of each month. She evaluates her progress towards her SMART goals. She sees that money that she saved from cutting down on coffee, combined with her dedicated as far as the insights and information, that's my time. I hope that this has enlightened you on the importance of budgeting and the tools to ensure that you have a balanced financial life, and that you'll join us again next week. If you've been with us online, the conversation doesn't end there. Next week, we're aiming for the stars because, or should I say the 800 Club. Our next segment next week is entitled Bounce Back from Bad Credit, from Blah to Bravo. It's the next stage in our Build, Grow, Thrive series. We're going to tackle credit scores, demystify myths, and set you on a path from credit woes to credit wows. Thank you for joining us today. No step, no matter how small, that you make, it's all progress. And here is to building, growing, and thriving. Until next time, everyone, remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top.
That's right, we're back. Sacramento Sierra building trades are pretty unique jobs. Yeah. But it's not construction. I know it.